Truly, I am very honored to speak at this truly historic place. These walls have witnessed so many landmark events, and so many prominent figures have expressed their idea bound to change the world for better. It was here at this university shortly after World War II, when the European continent was still lying in ruins, when Sir Winston Churchill called for the creation of the United Europe. His urge then was, we must build a kind of United States of Europe. In this way only will hundreds of millions of toilers be able to regain a simple joys and simple hopes which make life worth living. I am convicted that life worth living is evident when I look into the eyes of my children. This should be eyes without fear. And that's possible only when we have a freedom and democracy.
Mr. President, just on вас.
Thank you very much. Let's applaud this gentleman that he live in our audience. Bye, gentlemen. Bravo. Look, frankly speaking, I think this is a very symbolic. This is the picture of the whole world. And the whole world is united. And the whole world is demonstrating the solidarity with Ukraine. And those who support the aggressor, he is in a complete isolation. Nobody in the world will support them. This happens in United Nations General Assembly Conference. This happened in the United Nations Security Council. This happens in the G20 meeting in Brisbane. This happened in Europe. This happened in the world. And that gives me a very strong hope that the perspective of the world is absolutely bright. That the values which united us is a freedom and democracy. And I'm absolutely sure that when we were united, the victory would be with us, no doubt. Why? Why it's happened? Why the words of Churchill is come to the real life? Because we have a very great evidence. The 28 European nations, members of the European Union, demonstrate a success story. Success story for 500 million people. When everybody respects the freedom, everybody respects the sovereignty, everybody respects the territorial integrity, everybody respects the democracy. And at the same time, they demonstrate and advance with the highest level, not only with the political freedom, but with a very high level of the economic standard. In the wake of the cruelest war in the human history, Churchill's dream of the united Europe sounds a little bit idealistic and a little bit naive. Now, in the 21st century, Churchill's dream is not anymore. Churchill's idealism has morphed into reality. But after almost 70 years of the flourishing European project, the new global challenges have appeared, calling on the European leaders to seek further ways to ensure growth and security, as well as the availability of the democratic liberties. Europe needs now a new impulse. The whole of Europe is again under attack. I repeat, not only Ukraine. Under attack now is the whole Europe and the whole civilized world. And Ukraine now simply on the front line of this battle. The contingent ideas of the liberty and democracy are being directly challenged. The European Union, unlike Switzerland, cannot rely on its geographical endowments and on its unique security model. I told about that, Didier Bugalter. But it should look beyond its current borders to enhance its security. Today, the threats faced by Europe are similar to those that are now struggled against in Ukraine. My country waged a war against terrorism. It fights in the forefront of the European values such as freedom, sovereignty and democracy. And Ukraine should become a full-fledged member of the European family of nations. I have no doubt about that. It should happen while already being its indivisible historic, spiritual and intellectual part, already being a God, and if you allow me, already being a new symbol of the free Europe. The concept of the sovereignty brought to us by the Peace of Westphalia back in 1648, putting an end to one of the most devastating and lengthy wars in Europe.
I don't want to sit with someone in this room who's killing children.
Thank you very much indeed.
I'm telling lies.
And in my speech, I said something about killing children. I have here. If anybody understands what she said, this is exactly the cultural level of this lady. Thank you. Slava Ukraini! That's very difficult to say about the killing children. This is the sign which means Je suis Volnovakha. Volnovakha, it's a tiny town on the east part of Ukraine when the 13th of January, a Russian missile fly from the occupied Tukuchevsk hit the civilian bus where was altogether 29 persons, including one children. 13 of these persons were killed in one moment. Absolutely innocent civilian victim was killed by terrorists supported by Russia, supply Russian weapons and given order from Russian side. That's something about children. And that's why the whole civilized world concentrate their efforts to stop the war. And everybody could do whatever they can to stop the war. In this sense, I want to thank Didier Bugalter when we together, when he was the president of Switzerland and the president of the OEC, and from the very first moment after my inauguration speech, I declare the ceasefire and the process of peace negotiation. And we receive a strong support in form of the creation of the special monitoring mission of the OEC. And we were absolutely open to demonstrate that Ukrainian people wants nothing but peace. And Ukrainian leaders want simply nothing but peace. And this is a foreign troops to come to Crimea and make an annex. And this is a thousands and thousands of foreign troops come to some part of the Donetsk and Lugansk region, killing the innocent civilians, attacking and supporting the terrorists. And I think this is a very important thing. And this is a very important, to have a right to speak in the presence of the Ukrainian president. In Russia, you don't have ever these rights. And in Switzerland and in Ukraine, they have a right to speak whatever they want. That's why we are stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, one may ask why Ukraine, as a member, would be more beneficial to the EU, reliable and predictable. Not even being EU citizen, the Ukrainians stood up against the bullet in defense of the core European values. What started as a student movement quickly involved all the Ukrainian generation who stood up defending their children. The faces of those who died in their country still line the streets of the downtown of Kiev. Their picture proves that they hailed from every generation, every social class, every region of Ukraine. We Ukrainians call them Heavenly 100. And they died defending not only their country, but also the values on which Europe is built: freedom, dignity, rule of law. They go on the street of the Kiev exactly 1 year ago, on the 19th of February, the first massive demonstration, understanding that from those sides there is a riot police who has a bullet, who has a right, and who can kill every of them. They go there to defend the future of their country. And that's why we now have a very high level of the responsibility to demonstrate that their heroism was very important for us. Ukraine has proven its democratic commitment should not be kept in the sidelines of Europe. Inefficiency and innovation-led sustainable economies, it is not longer about the production factor, steel, coal or gas, but about the people with the potential, skill and vision alike. And Didier, I also want to build up in Ukraine, which would be not only famous with its chocolate, but with their freedom, with their intellectual possibilities, with their business climate and everything. And I think that in exchange of the experience, we together can reach them. This goes beyond the wider common market opportunities. It is also about the single space based on the common values and consolidated community capable to efficiently interact to address the current challenges. Tolerance, empathy, support demonstrated by the Ukrainian people, sometimes speaking different languages and even practices different religion, can serve a good example for Europe in face of its current challenges. Hundreds of thousands displaced persons who fled from the Russian-occupied Crimea and war-torn regions of Donbass have found a hospitable shelter and support in central and western part of Ukraine.